My name is Chinoso Lekwa, and this is Factoring Quadratic Equation 2. In this particular video, I will be explaining how to factor a quadratic equation by grouping. So without any further ado, let's dive into this explanation using a perfect example. So let's say we have the equation 2x squared plus 9x minus 5 is equal to 0. Now, this is a quadratic equation, and if you want to solve it by factoring, let's see if we have any two numbers that when we multiply, it gives us negative 5, and when we add, it gives us 9. The factors of 5 are just 5, negative 5, positive 1, negative 5. When you add them, you will never get 9. There are no factors of 5 that we can add to give us 9. So this kind of question requires us to do another method of grouping. So to do the grouping, what we normally do is we would multiply negative 5 by 2. So once we multiply negative 5 by 2, that gives us negative 10. So we are going to be using negative 10 as a reference number. So we are going to be looking for two numbers such that when we multiply those two numbers, we get negative 10, and when we add them, it gives us 9. So it's like having a hypothetical number here. You remember when we talked about the simple solving of quadratic equation by factoring, we said we look for two numbers such that when you multiply them, it gives you the constant, and when you add them, it gives you the b term. So we're going to be looking at this negative 10 as our new placeholder here, but it's not affecting the equation. So but let's just have it hypothetically. So we're looking for two numbers such that when we multiply them, it gives us negative 10, and when we add, it gives us positive 9. So I can think of the factors. So the factors of negative 10 could be negative 10 and positive 1. It could also be negative 1 and positive 10. We could also look at 2 and 5, but of course when you add 2 and 5, you can never get 9. So we're interested in these two, either of these. So which of these are we going to add to give us 9? It is negative 1 and 10. So we're going to be using negative 1 and 10 as our factors. So what that does, it helps us know how to split this 9x. So we want to split 9x into 2. So that would be 2x squared plus, now remember we've said the factors are 10 and negative 1. So we'll say 10x and then negative x. So this is the negative 1. So but we don't have to write 1. The coefficient of x is already negative 1 here. So then we'll say negative 5 is equal to 0. So what we want to do is to factor by grouping, and that is why we try to split this 9 into 2. So we have not essentially altered or changed its value. It's still 9, because eventually when you add 10x and negative x, you get 9x. So we've done something that will help us, factor this. So the next thing to do is now to factor. You group this first and second term, and then group the last two terms. So once we've successfully grouped like that, then of course we say what is common. What is the common factor between 2x squared and 10x? Of course 2x is common. So if 2x is common, what is left would be x, that's of this, so that when you multiply this, it gives you 2x squared. And then what is left when you factor 2x out of 10x is positive 5. So we factored these first two terms. So we go on to the next, the last two terms. What is common between negative x and negative 5? It's just negative 1. So we factor negative 1. And then look at it, what is left of this is x. So that eventually when you multiply negative 1 by x, it gives you negative x. Then what is left of negative 5 when we factor out 1 is positive 5 is equal to 0. So now, if you look at these terms within the bracket, they are the same. So it is one of the factors. The other factor would be picking this and this. So that would be 2x minus 1 and then x plus 5 is equal to 0. Now we have successfully factored this equation. So the next thing to do is to go on to use, just like we have in the simple factored method for the other one, we can go on to say, now using the zero product property rule, if these two factors multiply to give 0, is either 2x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x plus 5 is equal to 0. And then from here, we can tell that when we add 1 to both sides, it means that x will be half or x will be negative 5. I will allow you finish this equation, go on, solve, and in the comment section, provide the solutions of this equation. But essentially, we've done the major work of showing you how to factor by grouping. I look forward to connecting with you more often through my videos. Thank you.